Good morning. I'm late. I don't like being late. I was looking at my Fitbit and my Fitbit says it is 8:59, but my phone says it's 9:04. So I'm going to have to figure things out here. But anyways, happy Thursday. I hope you're having a great week. Today's Q&A, we've got some good questions. I actually answered a couple of them yesterday on my stories, but I'm going to jump in and get started. We've got 5 questions today. Good morning, Lorianne. First question, how much time before and after meals should I drink fluids and or water? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it is best to keep water, to keep tea, coffee, any fluids away from meal times. I'm talking like large amounts. You don't want to be chugging some of these drinks at least 15 minutes before and after. 30 is ideal just because it affects digestion. We have enzymes. When we eat, we have HCl. It's called hydrochloric acid, and it helps to break down food. It helps with absorption. It helps to rid of pesky digestive symptoms. So if you struggle with bloating, gas, indigestion, things like that, it can be due to what I call your meal hygiene or your habits surrounding meals. So it is best to keep fluids away at least, like I said, 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, because it can impact the amount of enzymes. It can dilute your enzymes, your hydrochloric acid, and just make it a little bit more difficult for your body to break down food. And it's super important to be aware of this because it's not just what you're eating, but it's what you're absorbing. That's so darn important. And if your food isn't being broken down properly and you're not absorbing it, that can lead to, well, a wealth of issues, digestive issues for one. It can also impact the nutrients that you are consuming and that your body is utilizing. The whole point of us eating is to, of course, get the energy to keep us going, but to keep us healthy by giving us all the minerals, antioxidants, vitamins, fiber, all that goodness that is found in food. So if you have any other questions about that, make sure you let me know. Next, what protein powder do you suggest? Boom, right here. ATP Lab. I do like Boldvita as well. I just haven't been using it. And that's just the truth. I love this one because there's a creaminess to it. And so this is the one I add to my coffee in the morning. This is the one I add to my creamies. If I make smoothies, it's usually a creamy or a smoothie. This has been my go-to. There is a vanilla, organic vanilla, and there's also chocolate. Those are the only 2 flavors. I use the Supreme Beef protein. It is made from grass-fed bovine collagen. I do pay attention to the amount of dairy that I consume. It just doesn't work for me. So this brand also has a whey protein. I've personally never tried it. It's probably delicious. I just don't tolerate whey protein powder very well. The belly ends up getting bloated. Not that you guys need to hear this, but I've gone through many protein powders in the past and didn't really tie my digestive issues to those, but it was indeed the protein powders that I was using. Of course, the ingredients in a lot of protein powders you want to pay attention to. This one is sweetened with monk fruit and stevia, which I love. A lot of them on the market, unfortunately, are sweetened with a lot of artificial sweeteners, and a lot of people just don't do well on those. I remember getting super gassy and like smelly, and sometimes I had diarrhea, sometimes I had constipation. It was not cute. So this one I love. I will stick with it because it's great quality. It's third-party tested. Ingredients are good, and it doesn't cause any digestive issues for myself. All right, next, should I be including any cardio in my training program? So I've been deep diving hugely into midlife, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And the more I am reading about this, so midlife typically starts, it's hard to say, they say 40, but a lot of women end up starting to see and feel changes in their bodies in and around 35 years old. That's when perimenopause can start. And I know I've definitely noticed some changes in myself. Not that I want to talk about this today, but cardio is very important as your body starts changing hormone levels, specifically estrogen. That is one hormone that I'm going to talk a lot more about, just because I didn't realize like just how much of an impact it has on so many things in the body. But one of them is your cardiovascular health, and cardiovascular disease is the number one killer in women, in midlife, and of course older. So my views on cardio are changing, and that's okay. I am suggesting cardio, but I will say that strength training will always be at the top of my list. If you only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to your training program, I will still enforce. I will still tell you that strength training is number one, because you can get cardiovascular benefits from training, because you should be training at that intensity, meaning you should be lifting heavy enough that it's also taxing your cardiovascular system, that your heart is working harder to pump blood to your extremities, to your organs, that you are breathing heavier, you're utilizing more oxygen due to the effort that you're putting into your training sessions. Now, in the courses that I have been taking, general recommendations, and remember, this is general, this isn't for everybody. General recommendations are 150 minutes of cardio per week. And this is moderate intensity cardio, as well as at least 2 training sessions per week. So when I say moderate intensity cardio, we're talking like a really brisk walk. If you have a weighted vest, that can add an element of difficulty to it. It can be jogging, like not running, but just a nice, easy jogging pace. It can be cycling. I'm not talking intense spin classes where you're doing crazy intervals and cranking up the resistance and getting like super out of breath. Like that's not moderate intensity. It is basically a pace that you can keep for 20 to 40 minutes, and that you can still hold somewhat of a conversation, that you aren't like completely gassed, that you can't talk. So that's what moderate intensity cardio looks like. It can be going to a Zumba class. It can be swimming is considered, well, and it depends on the intensity that you're going to, right? If you're just kind of floating in the ocean, different story than if you are swimming in a lake or swimming laps in a pool. Rowing can also be moderate intensity cardio, but again, like that can be super intense depending on the resistance that you have on your rowing machine. So I hope that that gives you some information. If you have any other questions about cardio, let me know. 150 minutes seems like a lot, but we should be moving already, meaning you should be outside walking every single day. And this can be part of it. Like, you're not just la-di-da walking, looking at the trees and the birds, which is great. I'm not saying you can't do that. But to get the cardiovascular benefits of cardio, you need to be booking her. And all I'm visualizing is Oprah Winfrey when she used to go on her walks. If you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's move on. How much protein do you recommend for women? Boy, it's not really a tricky question. I feel like maybe there's some confusion about it. You ideally want to be aiming for 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, meaning like your goal weight. So I'm at my goal weight. Like, I feel super comfortable at this weight. I'll still fluctuate 5 to 10 pounds. Totally cool. I am way more concerned about my body composition at this time. So I am 160 and I aim for between 128 is the low end, because that's 0.8 of 160 to 160 grams. A lot of people are like, what the heck does that even mean? Like, if you don't want to track your food, then you can go according to your hand. So your hand is a great measuring tool. The size of the palm of your hand and thickness of your hand is typically 1 serving of protein, and that's typically about 20 to 30 grams. So it's not an exact science or an exact measure, but it does help you to eyeball what you should be eating per meal and per snack. So if I am eating 160 grams, and my math is so bad, you guys, so I'm probably going to butcher this, but I guess we can do this simply. So 3 times 4 would be 120. So I would need to eat at least 5. If not 6 servings of protein, depending if it's like that 20 grams of protein. Now, it's not all created equal, and hopefully you're still with me here, but like chicken, 100 grams of chicken, which would be pretty close to the size of the palm of my hand and thickness of my hand, is 30 grams of protein. Now, beef, to get the same amount, to get 30 grams of protein from beef, you need to be eating 140 grams. And so that's why I will always recommend that you spend some amount of time tracking your food. Like, even 6 months of your entire life, you can learn so much about what your body needs. But just to keep things super simple here, if you're just like, nope, no food scale, don't want to track my food, I get it. I totally get it. Go according to the size of the palm of your hand. Most women should be eating between 4 to 6 servings per day. So depending on how many meals, how many snacks you eat, if you are only eating 3 main meals, which is totally cool, you would then be eating like basically 2 servings per meal if you want to hit that 6 servings. If you're not used to eating a lot of protein and you're aiming for 4, I would recommend that you have 2 for breakfast. Pack on that protein for breakfast, ladies. I'm telling you, it is the biggest game changer that you can make when it comes to your health, your energy, your cravings, your blood sugar regulation, your body composition. 2 for breakfast, and then 1 for lunch, 1 for dinner. And like I said, it depends on how many meals and snacks you do end up consuming, but 4 to 6 is the recommended amount. If you want my protein cheat sheet, just send me a message and I'll send it your way. All right, last but not least, I've been hearing a lot more about eating fiber-rich foods. Can you tell me how much and what I should be eating to get more fiber? So fiber has always been important. It's kind of taken off on social media, even me included. I'm like talking more about fiber because yes, it's super duper important. That's, you're getting your micronutrients as well. You are eating a lot more fruits and vegetables and whole grains to get your fiber intake. Now, ideally, you want to be aiming for 25 to 35 grams per day. And that's easy to do if you are tracking your food, because in MyFitnessPal, like, it tells you exactly how many grams of fiber you're going to eat as you track your food. But if you aren't tracking your food, then I would suggest that you are eating a higher fiber food at each meal or snack, at least one. And if you're like, Danielle, what the heck is that? I actually posted on my stories yesterday about that, so you can go back. The story's still up because they're up for 24 hours and you can screenshot it and take a photo, but I've just got a list here. So fruits, things like berries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, pears, apples, bananas, avocados are great sources of fiber. Vegetables, any vegetable, cruciferous vegetables, root vegetables like potatoes, sweet potatoes are also great sources. Beans, legumes, so black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils, bean pasta is great. Nuts and seeds, things like chia seeds, flax, sesame, pumpkin, walnuts, almonds are great. And whole grains, so things like quinoa, rice is great. Brown rice and wild rice is likely higher than white rice, but I know it doesn't agree with everybody. Like, I can't have that type of rice. I just stick to plain old white basmati rice and it works for me, but I'm probably not getting as much fiber than if I were to eat a brown rice. Like whole wheat pasta is better than white pasta, even though that's not really something that I encourage my clients to eat, just because wheat, it can cause digestive issues in a lot of people. And unfortunately, our crops nowadays are just like sprayed with glyphosate, with pesticides, with herbicides. The quality of our soil is not great. And I'm going off on a tangent here, but even the quality of our food isn't great for us. So buying organic is where you can. Like, if you can buy organic, I encourage it. If you can't, then you're obviously doing better by eating these whole nutrient-dense foods to get fiber. And I'll just leave it at that. If you do struggle to get fiber in, you can take a fiber supplement. It's not something that I push or encourage because you can get it through Whole Food. That's any supplement, right? A supplement is there to like balance out your already amazing food choices that you are making. And I think that's it. That's all. And did I answer that? Can you tell me how much and what I should be eating? Yeah. Okay. That is it, ladies. So any questions? Post them in the comments below. If you want my protein cheat sheet, just send me a message and I'll send it your way. Have a great day.